guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanya. This is my cat Twisty, and he's just saying hello for a minute while I do the introduction, and he's ready to go. And he's gone. So today I'm going to do a reaction video. This video was uploaded 2 months ago. This is by Living Simply Australia, who I have reacted to before, and this is a video called The 9 Biggest Lies About Australia People Keep Believing. And it's also a pretty short video, so I thought this would be a perfect video to react to. And I'm also curious about the lies people believe about Australia, because I see videos like this, like lies people believe about America and like all that, and they're always kind of fun to watch. So I'm very interested to see. Today we have Cody just laying next to me. Right? You just lay next to me, don't you? Yes, we just lay next to me today.
To come to Australia, whether it is to live or for a visit. In this video, we're going to talk about the biggest misconceptions people have about Australia and Australians that are simply not true. So, if you're interested, keep watching. The first misconception about Australians that people have is that all Australians know how to surf. As you may know, Australia has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and with that, surfing and swimming are naturally very popular sports. And indeed, many Australians who live...
I don't know why anyone would think that any country, like the people in it, all do one thing. That's just weird to me anyway. Every person is different. So I have never assumed that every Australian surfs. However, I do think that there are a lot of surfers in Australia. There's a lot of people who like to surf, probably who live on the coast and stuff. Like in the US, you know, there's a lot of people who like to surf, like in California and stuff. So, you know, but yeah, I would never assume everybody surfs.
Near the water or by the coast tend to be great surfers, or at least do it as a hobby. But this doesn't mean that everyone knows how to surf. In fact, research by Royal Lifesaving Australia reports that 1 in 4 adults in Australia are either weak swimmers or can't swim.
Really?
So, let alone surfing. So that's a massive misconception
That's
that many people
surprising.
have about Australians in general. And having said that, if you're coming to Australia for a visit and you don't know how to swim, I highly recommend taking some lessons if you want to get in the water. Otherwise, don't do it because it's very...
All of the Australians in my Discord always tell me that like kids in Australia learn very, very young how to swim and how to, well, I suppose people who live near the beaches, near the coast, they learn very young how to handle the ocean and how to swim and navigate in the ocean. That's according to the Aussies in my Discord. And it makes sense, because if you live near the ocean, your kids have to be safe. They have to know what to do, what not to do. But fun fact though, I was on a swim team for 8 years. It was like so fun.
risky, and tourist drownings are actually a thing in this country. Now, the second misconception I always hear about Australia, and so many people keep leaving comments about that and asking me about that, is that there are dangerous animals everywhere, even snakes coming out of the toilet. And while it is true that Australia is home to some of the most deadliest creatures in the world, it also has many unique and diverse wildlife that it's not necessarily dangerous unless you disturb them. So urban areas, that is cities.
I think that is anywhere you go that has dangerous animals. Same with America. America has very, very dangerous animals, and you just have to know what you should and should not do. And like common sense tells you, if you're going to go into the wilderness in any country, you're likely to come across some type of wild animal. So it's important to know what to do for the country that you're in and know the animals that you could come across in the areas that you're in.
Generally safe, and it's very rare that you are actually going to come across an animal, a kangaroo or a koala or even a snake. It's very, very rare. You actually have to get out of your way to see wildlife, and it's very likely that if you're a tourist, you'll actually have to end up going to a reserve to try to see some wildlife, or perhaps if you go to a national park, you might spot some wallabies or kangaroos. Okay, another misconception that many people have that Australians use slang for absolutely everything and that you won't understand a thing of what they are saying. The reality is that at the beginning, perhaps if English is not your first language, you might struggle a bit with the Australian accent. And
I'm American, okay, and I don't struggle with the Australian accent. However, some of the slang words or terminology that you use for things, things that are just a little slightly different than the way we say things, but like we don't know that you say it that way, so it's a little bit confusing. So it's not the accent that's confusing to me, it's not, I don't know, it's some of the ways that not everybody, some people put their sentences together or whatever. It's sometimes we have to kind of do a double take for a second and be like, wait, what did they say?
Of course, there are some
I'm sure it's vice versa
that
too.
You have to get familiar with in order to understand what they mean, right? So if someone says, "Oh, let's meet this arbo," arbo means afternoon. So it is
I
true
learned
that there's
that.
some slang, but that doesn't mean that you'll come.
I learned that in Discord. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I probably would have never known the word arvo and what it meant if somebody said it to me Australia if I hadn't learned it in Discord.
Here and you won't be able to communicate, not at all. But the reality, of course, again, is that if you're not
That's so
an English
pretty.
native
Where's
speaker
that
and
at?
perhaps like
I'm
me,
gonna
you were
rewind
used
this.
to the American,
Sorry.
but there.
Nothing to do with this, but that's gorgeous. There's a lot of people there, but that is so pretty. Where's this building at? What city is this? I love that. All the lights. Oh my God, it's so pretty.
Reality, of course, again, is that if you're not an English native speaker and perhaps like me, you were used to the American or the British accent, perhaps during the first few months or the first year, you may struggle a bit with the accent, but the good news is that Australians are super, super kind and they won't have any issues.
Whoa, that's a lot of
helping you with
stairs.
that, yeah. And something else to know is that Australia is super multicultural. So you will get to hear many different accents from all over the world, so don't worry about it. Okay, another big misconception that many people have is that Australia has no culture. Everything is all about
What?
nice beaches. So basically tourists.
People think Australia has no culture? Why would they think that? Oh my God, that's weird.
They think that Australia, it's only a place where
That's like saying America has no culture, and that's the most ridiculous. Ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard in my life.
you go to the beach and that's it. But Australia is more than that. Cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane offer amazing cultural experiences and have world-class art galleries
so
and
cool
museums
looking.
featuring Australian, Indigenous and international art. The performing arts scene, music festivals and
Oh, that
sporting
is.
events are also a very important part of the Australian culture and
that's
identity.
so
So if
cool.
you ever come to visit here, I
That
highly
was
recommend
so
not
cool.
limiting yourself to just going to the Great Barrier Reef, but actually exploring all the cultural activities
What's
Australia has to
this?
offer. It will be naturally very different to what you find,
Oh
for
my
example, in
God.
Europe, but
What
again,
is
it's
that?
another side of Australia that perhaps not many
What are all
people
these
know.
places that
Another
she's
big
showing me?
misconception is that Australia is always hot, all year round. And again,
Look at that fucking view. Oh my God. That's so pretty. Yes, I understand that people think Australia is hot all year round. I don't think that I thought Australia had summer all year round. But I did not think that certain places there got as cold as they do get. Like, that was surprising to me. Like, it was surprising. Oh, Jesus, ghost. Are you gonna walk? But yeah, I was a little surprised the first time one of the Aussies in the Discord was telling me about how he's gotten snow at his house before. Very little bit of snow, but he got snow. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think it got that cold there. Like, Illinois gets, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. This year, this winter, we had like a couple days it was like below, it was negative 20 Fahrenheit. Would you like to go outside in that?
While it is true that Australia is known for its warm climate, the reality is that this is a
So
huge
cool looking.
country with a wide range of weather patterns.
Yeah.
In the northern areas, for example,
Hotter.
you'll definitely find a more tropical
Yeah.
climate with wet and dry seasons. But in the southern regions, you'll experience cold
Snow.
winters and
Yeah.
in some parts even
It's
snow.
so neat.
So it's not all
Just like
hot and
America.
humid as many people
Opposite
think.
though,
We
like
actually
it's,
have a bit of
you know.
everything in that regard. So if you're a tourist coming to Melbourne or Sydney, remember please to bring a jacket, especially during the winter months or in autumn and spring, because it does get cold. Another misconception that people who've never been to Australia have is that all Australians live in the outback.
What?
Well, it is true that Australia is
What? Who thinks that all Australians live in the outback? They've never seen the coast? Or like Sydney? Like what?
famous for its outback. Most Aussies actually live in urban or suburban areas. Cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth are huge cities with modern infrastructure and a wide range of landscapes,
have some of the
including
coolest-
rainforests, mountains, and coastal plains. So it's not all desert, as many people.
Well, I was gonna say you guys have some of the coolest buildings, and you do. But when she showed that view, holy shit.
Think. Another misconception, and this is more of a stereotype that many people have, is that Australians are all tall, white, blonde, and fit, and they all surf, as I said before. And this is something that we were discussing with my Australian partner. We were wondering, why do people always have that image? And even in Argentina, where I'm more
Oh, she's from Argentina? I didn't know where she was from. I don't know why I thought she was French. Does she sound French to anybody? Her accent sounds French. Anyway, is this something that like it's mostly Europeans that are believing these things? Because a lot of these things sound very strange to me. I don't know a lot of people that think this way. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
from, when there's some kind of reference to Australia, for some reason, they always portray Australians as these blonde surfers or safari guys.
I
And that's
don't
far
know what
from
she's
the truth.
talking about.
Australia is a nation of migrants, as well as people from Aboriginal heritage. It's super multicultural. You're going to find people from all over the world, and we all look
I've never
very
thought
different.
Australia
so
was
it's
just full
a
of
huge misconception
tall
to think that
blondes.
everyone looks like this guy. Yeah, it's interesting.
Is that where it
Okay,
came
another
from?
very big misconception is that all Australians are descendants of convicts.
Well,
Well,
look
it is
at
true
that view.
that British convicts settled in Australia in the late 18th and early 19th centuries.
Oh,
The
cool.
majority of
Where's
Aussies
that
today
at?
are not direct descendants of convicts. Again, as I said before, Australia is a nation made of migrants, Aboriginal peoples, so it's not that all Australians are descendants of convicts, as many people think. Another big misconception that many people have is that Australians have Vegemite with every single meal, and this is not true. Well, it is true that Australians love their Vegemite, at
That's a
least most Aussies that I know,
lot.
they
Oh my
love
God.
it, and we actually have, even here, we have Vegemite. It's an essential part of our house. And that doesn't mean that Australians eat Vegemite with every single meal. Usually you have it as an afternoon snack, or perhaps in the morning, but not every single day. So yeah, that's another misconception, I guess. Now, if you want to know more about Australian culture, what is it like to live, work, study, and travel in this beautiful country, I highly recommend watching these videos here and here. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to keep supporting the channel so I can keep bringing more Aussie content for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
I don't know. I really like this girl. I think she's so sweet. I like her videos, but I think that this must be like the 9 biggest lies that Europeans believe about Australia, because a lot of that stuff you could take out the word Australia and put America and say this is what people, lies people believe about America, like, oh, we have no culture. America has a ton of culture, by the way. But like, it just reminded me of like, you could say the same thing about America in some of those. So I don't know. I feel like maybe that is maybe these are misconceptions by other countries. I don't know if Americans really feel this way about Australia. Maybe they might think they all surf and they live in the outback, and that's about it. Like, I don't know of, I mean, I can only speak for myself though, can't I? So I don't know, but it sounds like something that maybe only Europeans would believe, because I think some of these are kind of funny. Like, I would never believe that, and I don't think Americans would believe that. Anyway, still though, it was a very interesting video, and I really like watching her videos. So, you know, please give her some love. I have her video linked in the description if you are interested in checking out her channel. When you've had a long day and you can't think of the name and you can't think of words, can you hear the wind behind me? It's crazy. It's definitely a Monday today. But that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like, subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and I'll see you next time.